What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is time to bust that rhyme about the prospects on that East Coast line engine number 9, going down the East Coast lines. Now, you know we've done Danny Dennis Sutton. You know we've done Akeem Messidor. You know we've done TJ Parker. If you guys want to check those out, make sure after this video you go ahead and check those other 3 out, and we're going to continue expanding the series and doing more and more and more. Eventually, we might get into some tackles and maybe some corners and some safeties, whatever the case may be. Maybe we'll just do all the top 30 visits from the combine. Maybe we'll do more than that. Who knows? Stay tuned, because I think we've already exited that laneway. But anyway, we've got a breakdown for you. This guy is a little bit different than the previous ones that we've done. And today we've got our Mason Thomas. He's a completely different flavor of edge rusher than the last 2, right? So this is a different evaluation. Remember, size, weight, all that stuff. There's a certain type of guy that the Detroit Lions like. What's the archetype? Who is the archetype? That would be none other than one Marcus Davenport. So every edge rusher that we're going to do, we're going to compare him to Marcus Davenport, because Marcus Davenport and Aidan Hutchinson are similar. Marcus Davenport 6'6", Aidan Hutchinson 6'7". Marcus Davenport is what? 285, I think. Aidan Hutchinson is 270 or something like that. I have to get the actual measurements for Aidan Hutchinson, but you know where I'm going with this. The big edge, the big end. That's what they like in Detroit. Does it work? It works for Hutch. Has it worked for anyone else there? No. But if you're going to do the same thing over and over and expect different results, well, that's called the definition of insanity. So we're going to give you a wide range of prospects. Whether the Detroit Lions are going to use any picks on any prospects that are not big ends, we'll see. I mean, hell, will they even use a pick to get a big end? That is yet to be discovered. We do not know. Or a big edge, or whatever they want to call it. Big guy on the end. Think of Lee McNeil and Tyler Lacey rushing the passer. It's not great, Bob. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the measurables. All right, Mason Thomas, edge, Oklahoma Sooners. Height, 6'2". He's a little short. He's a little short for their liking. They like him 6'4", 6'5", and up. Weight, 249. Woo, that's a no-go right there. He's hovering around 250. They don't even get out of bed unless you're 259. You know, they don't even get out of bed unless you're 259. So what do you think they're going to do for 249? They're going to roll over and hit the alarm. Snooze button. But, you know, we're going to keep through it. He's a senior. All right, let's go to this background and production. You already know what we do at this point in time. We do their height, weight, you know, the measurables. Then we do their background production. Then we do their strengths and their concerns. We don't call them weaknesses. And then we talk about their draft projection and their fit with the Detroit Lions. And then we go over the highlights. All right. So background and production. A former 4-star recruit out of Fort Lauderdale, Thomas steadily developed into a premier SEC pass rusher for the Sooners. He had a massive breakout campaign in 2024, racking up 9 sacks and 12.5 tackles for loss. He followed that up with a stellar 2025 season, securing 6.5 sacks, 9.5 TFLs, and first-team All-SEC honors. He finished his 42-game collegiate career with 17 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. To cap it all off, he went to the 2026 NFL Combine and ran a blazing 4.67-second 40-yard dash, solidifying his status as a premier athlete in this class. Now, 4.67 is not a blazing 40-yard dash time for a running back or a wide receiver or a safety or corner. But for a man who is 6'2", 249 pounds, coming at you at 4.67 seconds, that's a lot to handle. So, yeah, it's fast for his height and weight. All right, now let's go to his Strengths from his scouting report. Lightning, fast, get off. And if you're going to be 6'2", only 249, a little light in the pants, don't have enough bricks in your pocket, apparently, according to Dan Campbell, right? You don't have enough bricks in your back pocket. 249. What you going to do at 249? This is the NFL, player. You got to be 376 off the edge. Anyway, I digress. Thomas is explosive off the line of scrimmage. He covers an immense amount of ground in his first 3 steps, immediately putting offensive tackles on their heels. Elite bend and flexibility. He is arguably one of the most fluid edge rushers in the draft. He possesses incredible ankle flexion, allowing him to dip under taller tackles, flatten his arc, and corner tightly into the pocket. High motor and pursuit. He plays with a relentless, aggressive attitude. Thomas is a phenomenal backside pursuit defender who routinely chases down running backs from behind with his rare closing speed. Now, who else has a relentless motor? I should put a quiz in this video just to see if y'all go back. I just might put a quiz in this video just to see if y'all have been watching the other videos. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a quiz in this video. So here at this point, when I ask you who else from the prospects that we've covered has a really high motor, you guys are going to get an answer. Multiple choice. Hopefully you pick the right one. So I'm not going to tell you. So you got to pause the video. You got to think about it. Have a think. Get back to me. We'll be here. Anyway, speed to power. Despite being undersized, he surprises blockers with his ability to convert his pure speed into a powerful strike, frequently knocking off balance tackles backwards. Right? If you're off balance already and he hits you with that, if he hits you with that, you're going backwards into the quarterback. And that's not a place you want to be. All right. So those are the strengths. Okay. Again, he's got 4 strengths. 4 of them. That's among the highest that we've seen in these prospects so far. Lightning fast get off, elite bend and flexibility, high motor and pursuit, speed to power. Right? The more that you have at the edge rusher position, the more complete you are. There's a lot of big guys that they're looking at that only have 1 strength or maybe 2. So the complete edge rusher thing, you have to see who they pick. Do they pass on certain people? And you'll get your answer at that point. All right. Concerns. Okay. Now, he has almost as many concerns as he does strengths. I don't think that 2 of these things, actually, look, I think every one of his concerns is stemmed from 1 actual concern. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we go through them. Every one of his concerns is stemmed off of 1 concern. It has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with ability. Here we go. All right. Undersized frame. At 6'2" and roughly 249 pounds, he falls below the traditional NFL size threshold for a base defensive end. His shorter arms can allow larger, longer tackles to lock onto his chest and control his rush. Run defense anchor. Because he lacks elite mass and length, he can get washed out by heavy down blocks and double teams. He sometimes struggles to maintain his gap integrity when teams run directly at him. Durability. He dealt with some high ankle sprains and soft tissue issues earlier in his collegiate career, so medical evaluations will be an important factor for front offices, not for Brad Holmes. That actually might have put him on his radar. Soft tissue in his rake straw, high ankle sprains, right? The first 2 things had to do, number 1, he's undersized. Number 2, because he's undersized, run defense and anchor. Guess what you can do with that? Paging Coach Shep, get rid of this old antiquated scheme that won't allow this guy to be on the field. How about that? How about you scheme him off of blocks? How about you run some stunts? How about you run some twists? How about you run some games? How about that? You do that, you can get this man one-on-one. You can get him paired up against. You can move him around. What happened to Hutch being moved around? Everybody wants to, in Lions land, the fandom, they want to compare Hutch to Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons doesn't just line up on the same side all the time with his hand in the dirt and just bull rush. It's not what Micah Parsons does. Micah Parsons is all over the defense. He's standing up. He's got his hand in the dirt. He's coming off the edge. He's coming through the middle on blitzes. They use him in a variety of different ways. We're too vanilla to get this guy. I'm sorry. We just don't have the creativity that would allow us to take a guy who was looked at as undersized, but pretty complete. A guy that's not a world beater and elite against the run, but will really, really help your pass rush. We don't know how to get him on the field. We don't know how to use him properly. He's not big enough. He's not 6'5", 260. He's 6'2", 249. And that's a damn shame. But, draft projection and fit. If you run his profile through the Mock Machine, shout out to the Mock Machine, unofficial sponsor of this video. If you guys like mock drafts, if you guys like to be the GM, go over to www.themockmachine.com and you can do all that. You can play with your friends. You got a lightning round. If you guys decide that you want to sign the same free agent and give them the same amount of money, well, there's a lightning round that triggers. There's a bidding war. You got 2 minutes to offer him the best contract. Whoever offers him the most money and he accepts it, wins. If you guys just want to do a mock draft where you can trade everything, you can trade your entire draft if you want. You can trade picks from the next year. You can trade players. You can do all these things. Actually, yeah, you can. Now, go over to themockmachine.com, sign up. It's free. Make sure you tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, tell your bosses, you name it. Tell them all. Share with them because sharing is indeed caring. Themockmachine.com. Go on over there now and have a look. All right. So if you run his profile through the Mock Machine, Thomas usually grades out as a solid day 2 pick. While his size might prevent him from being an every down base end right away, his floor is incredibly high as a designated pass rush specialist. He would be an incredible sub-package speed rusher for the Detroit Lions, offering a twitched-up, bendy complement to the heavy-handed power rushers already on the defensive front, which is none other than Aidan Hutchinson because there's no other rushers there. None. Hello? Is this thing on? Aidan Hutchinson is the only pass rusher, edge defender, whatever you want to call him, on the active roster. Then there's Ahmed Hassanin on the practice squad. When, Brad, will you get some help for Hutch? When? We don't have any. Who are you signing? You're going to draft 3 edges? Come on, man. Watch we get some people in training camp from cuts. Watch. It's going to happen. All right. So if y'all are ready for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to the highlights because that's the next part of this video. And that's probably the part that you guys are, enthused about the most. Okay. You're probably the most enthused about the highlights. So let's go ahead and get to those without further ado. All righty. Turn my highlights on. All right. Let's get to it. All right. So here we got our Mason Thomas 2025 highlights. Let's go. All right. You see him out there on the edge standing up. As I said, first thing you notice, he was standing up, gets around the tackle. The tackle does have long arms, but he still uses that speed to power, gets him off of balance, and gets to the quarterback. Here he comes. He's got his hand in the dirt. First 2 highlights. One standing up, Hands in the dirt. You see the chop. You see the chop. Gets to him. I know that's Kent State. And I know they're rolling, but you see it. All right, here he comes. Move a little bit inside. Boom, relentless motor. Gets around the guy who's clearly bigger than him. Gets the sack. All right, here we go again. Boom. A little bit of a long arm right there. Stabs. Creates a little bit of distance. Gets the safety. All right, here he is again. What's he doing? Oh, he's going into coverage. What? What? Why is he in coverage? Is he versatile like that? Well, he is 249. Oh, playing against my Wolverines. No. I don't like that highlight. All right. Here he is out here again on the edge. Boom, boom, wash it down. In the run. Does not get washed out. I know this is Kent State. All right, here we go. Another run set. Gets on the inside with the stunt. Nice move. Gets in there, disrupts that play, tackle for loss. TFL. Screaming off the edge. Where's that running back? No chance. No chance, player. All right. Standing up again. Here he comes. Beating him off the edge. Here he comes. Motor. Arch Manning. Sit down. Motor. Never giving up on the play. He said, get out of here. You're too little. You're too slow. That's that 4.67. There he goes. That's speed. Here's that motor. He's not giving up. Is this a guy that you guys would like to see on the Detroit Lions? You let me know. Comment in the comment section below. Right? Now, obviously, these are highlights. So everything that you see in a highlight package is going to be, probably better than what you would see, overall. All right, let's get me back on the screen. So that is our Mason Thomas. Guys, let me know what you think about him in the comment section below. Tell me, do you think the Lions will get him? Do you want him first and foremost? Do you think there's a chance? Are you telling me there's a chance that we could get our Mason Thomas on day 2? Could he be our second round pick? You guys let me know. Would you like to see him over Akeem Mesidor? Would you like to see him over TJ Parker? Would you like to see him over Danny Dennis Sutton? Guys that we have done profiles on before, or maybe you'd like to see him with a combination of both. I did a mock draft yesterday on the mock machine where we were able to get Akeem Mesidor and our Mason Thomas because we made a trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers offered us a trade, and we got pick number 53. I picked them both in the second round. It is what it is. All right, y'all. Once again, appreciate you coming through and watching the video. Make sure you come and watch all of them as we roll them out. The Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic, and we are out. Peace.